project.
Hi, welcome back to the Bitcoin project. Gaz here, and I'd like to do an update for you now on how I've been getting on trying to grow my Bitcoin balance. If you watched my first video, you'll see that I had what I thought was a brilliant idea to change my Bitcoin into another currency called Ether. I had a bit of a problem, unfortunately. Keith sent me an email with a link to an article a couple of days ago. I don't know if it was this one or something similar, about how Ethereum has suddenly hit a 9-month low. Luckily, since then, it has started to kind of recover slightly, but it's still way down, as you can see on these long distance charts. It tanked right here at $6.81 per Ether, and it's just, yeah, it's slowly recovering, but I've since read a bit more about this article about Ether, and there's been some problems with the technology behind Ether, which is why the price seems to have bottomed out. So I've been researching what I can do about this, because I can carry on with Ether and hope that it goes back up, or because at the moment my Ether was worth around about $49 at the time of exchange. It's now 45.78, so I've lost a little bit there. But I'm thinking, is it time to move on to another currency, or do I sit with it in my Ether wallet? I think what I'm going to do, I've been doing some research on some other currencies that I can change it to, hopefully something that's having a bit more of a boom. And I've come across a currency called Dash. Now, Dash, for those of you who don't know, was created by a guy called Evan Duffield. Now, what he did is he took the idea behind Bitcoin, but he wanted something that was a lot more anonymous, because one of the problems with Bitcoin is that every transaction can be traced, and people can do forensics to figure out who's sending money where, although they don't know who they actually are. There's a lot of visibility within the blockchain. So what Evan Duffield did was actually try and create a currency that was more anonymous, and the initial currency he came up with was called Darkcoin. Now, Darkcoin was, let me just have a little look here for you. I'm trying to see when it was released. January 18th, 2014 is when it came out, and it has a private blockchain, so there's a lot more anonymity, which is something that he was striving to achieve. What he also did was to build extra technology within the foundations of Darkcoin, so that in future, as technology advances with cryptocurrencies, he'd have modules he could add and functions he could include to the currency without having to pretty much start from scratch. What happened then was a surge in the popularity of Darkcoin. It's gone from strength to strength, and he's got to a point now where everyone seems to be too focused on the anonymity. Now, he's got that tied down, but he was starting to get bad press because people think that anonymous cryptocurrencies are only used by criminals, drug dealers, and etc., etc. So what he's done now is he's rebranded Darkcoin, and he wanted something that gives it the kind of feel for what he's going for, which is he wants it to be known as digital cash. So he's cut those two words together and he's made Dash. Now, there are lots of things with Dash that seem to be very promising. Sorry about that, I had someone at the door. I had to go and answer. There was someone delivering a parcel. It's getting close to Christmas. It seems to be nothing but parcels coming to the door at the moment. So the technology behind it seems to be very promising. The master nodes that it uses and the network that is built seems to have legs for the future. So it's one that's built in extra features that are going to be possible as technology advances. So I'm really quite enthused about Dash. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. But obviously, what I'll do is I'm going to sit on defense just for another day probably. What I want to do is I want to just keep an eye on the Ether price. Hopefully, if it kind of rises a bit more, I'll kind of get myself out at a slightly better position. And obviously I want to do a bit more research on Dash, because I'm not 100% on it at the moment. I'm probably 60% convinced that this is the way to go. So I'm going to have to do a bit more research. But obviously when I do, I'll do the whole thing on screen for you. I'll show you me transferring my Ether into Dash if that's what I decide to do. And then obviously we'll see where it goes from there. But obviously, if you've got any ideas about what to do with these Bitcoin and Ether, please leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any updates. And I'll catch you all in my next video. Thanks for watching.